Welcome to episode 2 of Unwinding with Support Group. I am Arlene, LPC, which is Licensed Professional Counselor. This week with me, I have Dr. Alex. She has her PhD in traumatology.
Hello, hello.
This week, we're going to discuss gaslighting. But before we jump into that, uh, I'm drinking today Seagram's Escape again, the Jamaican Me Smile, because they're just delicious. Alex, what do you have with us?
I have the most exquisite, delicate fluid that you can ever drink to stay hydrated.
Oh my goodness, what is it?
Filtered water.
Oh my goodness, everybody's excited. It's
I'm
going to be
bet they
great.
are. Jamaican me happy. Is there one called Jamaican me crazy?
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it.
yeah. They're just adorable names.
They are.
All right. So today, as I said, gaslighting. And per usual, I'm going to start with what it is. This term gets thrown out a lot. So let's talk about what gaslighting is. Gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse where someone manipulates another person into questioning their own sanity, perception of reality, or memory. It involves twisting the truth, denying facts, making someone doubt their own experiences. Okay. So there's a couple of places this happens. It happens in relationships. It happens in professional settings, so like work. And there's just some general overall tactics where this happens. So I think it's important. I'm just going to give you some general examples in relationships. There's lying and denying, downplaying your feelings, controlling conversations, isolating from friends and family, shifting blame, projecting their behavior, trivializing your thoughts and feelings in work, taking credit for your work, blaming you for failures, invalidating your ideas or skills, disregarding your contributions. Now, everybody went, oh, I've had that boss. I know. I know. All right. General tactics is really just using charm and manipulation, really questioning your sanity and making you wonder, did that really happen? Am I the crazy one? It's a lot of am I the crazy one? So overall, those are the examples of what it looks like. And we can go into some more of what that is and what gaslighting is, but it's a term that really gets kind of overused, but
It
really
does.
understanding what it is. So
Yeah, it does get thrown around a lot. And sometimes even the person gaslighting their victim will say, "Oh, you're gaslighting me." So then they turn the victim into the gaslighter in the victim's mind, which can definitely create that chronic self-doubt that nothing they will ever do is ever correct. So yeah, it's definitely a good manipulation tool for for those abusers.
I agree. It's nothing like telling someone everything you do is manipulation as a form of manipulation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, that never happened. What are you talking about? I love that parents saying, "Oh, that never happened." Whenever their kiddos come up to them and they're like, "Hey, that was really painful when you did X." Oh, that never happened. I never did that. Ugh, man, nothing like having a parent say that to a kiddo and then your boss changing a deadline and saying, "Oh, you missed the deadline."
Yep.
We love
Those are,
those.
yep.
Yeah.
Those are great ones. All right. So what do you want to talk? Where do you want to start, Alex? Do you want to talk about relationships? Or you want to start with work? Because work can just be a fun one. We've all had that boss.
Oh no. My
Mhm.
last boss actually never gaslighted me. She was fantastic.
No, really? Was she?
She really was. But her boss, however, ugh.
Yeah. Well, let's not talk about her boss.
Man.
Uh,
Let's start with probably the most popular one, relationships. Let's go with that one.
Perfect. All right. So I think for me, one of the most common places I hear people say that they're being gaslit is when they are being held accountable
Mm,
in a misconception of way, like, oh, they're gaslighting me, and it's really because someone is trying to hold them accountable. And that is one of the ways that I feel like gaslighting is really being misused when someone is just setting a boundary and holding them accountable. And I think that's why it's important to talk about what gaslighting really is in relationships,
mhm,
because someone setting a boundary with you and just saying your behavior is unacceptable isn't gaslighting you.
mhm. Yep, I agree 100%. And the other thing is, have you noticed that narcissistic behavior comes with a lot of gaslighting in
It
relationships?
is. And
Yeah.
it's actually one of the like cornerstones
Mm,
of with of any, any kind of power and control dynamic, actually.
yeah, yeah. And, you know, it's really difficult to whenever you're bringing up to a narcissist, hey, like this hurt me. Oh, no, no, that never happened. I didn't mean that. That's not what I said. Why are you twisting my words? It's an automatic defense. And then you just feel crazy or you're left chronically confused and anxious. And you're just like, I don't understand. I was just trying to express my emotions. That is gaslighting. Whenever you are trying to express your emotions and someone takes it and uses it against you, in my humble opinion, that's one of the things I believe is gaslighting in a relationship.
Sure. There's also, I think, another one that is super important to like highlight for this, also shows up in other forms of like abuse. And I mentioned the power and control dynamic,
Yeah,
which is separating from your friends or your family, that isolating
that
piece,
isolation.
right?
Mhm.
So all of a sudden, like, you know, your people aren't good enough, or your friends, their behavior. Oh, do you really want to go hang out with so and so because blah blah blah? And so they make you like see your friends and family in a negative light to slowly cut them out, when really these are the people who would be like, yo, bro, or hey, girl, like this is not okay. And so, of course, they're trying to isolate you, which anybody who's been in like an intimate partner violent situation also recognizes that. That's that very big cornerstone of isolation, allows for that control, which also comes with a lot of these things bleed into one another. But
Yeah.
really big isolating, because then nobody can point out that this doesn't make sense.
And at first, you think, oh, they're protecting me. Oh, they want to protect me. They've got my best interest in mind. And oh my gosh, look how they're watching out for me. But in all actuality, they're watching out for themselves by not allowing outside influence in the relationship to keep and maintain that control.
Yeah. Or if you bring it up, they're like, well, they're just out there partying all the time anyways. And, we're in a good, stable relationship. Is that really what you want, is to be out there partying where you like with bad influences? And so somehow it's turned around on you.
Yep. Yep. Ah,
And that's that shifting blame, shifting behavior, uh, where really quickly you're having a conversation that you didn't come to have. And that's like, you're like, wait a minute, hold on.
yeah. And then,
No, I'm not trying to go like cheat, but like I just wanted to hang out with my friends. Wait, what just happened?
yeah. And also, the abuser can very quickly say, oh, they're not going to believe you if you tell them this anyways.
Yeah.
So that's another form of that. Like after the shiny new wears off and you think they're protecting you, well, the next thing you know is, oh, well, no one's going to believe what you say anyways.
It's not even that bad anyways.
Yeah, it's not that bad. What do you mean? You don't have any friends? Well, neither do I. We should just be enough for each other.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Right. You say something, you talk about how your feelings are hurt or something's really important to you and they minimize it. Like it's important to go do this big thing that you want to do. Even let's say something like you graduate college and you want to walk the stage and somehow they find a way to be like, no, that's just not even a big deal. Like, why would you even want to do that anyways? Like I mean, you did the work. Why would do you really need to get up there and walk across for other people to validate you?
Oh yeah. Or you're overreacting, you're too emotional, you're imagining things, all of that good stuff that we get to hear all the time. It's like, oh, you're too sensitive, you shouldn't,
My favorite, you're too sensitive.
you're too sensitive. That shouldn't really bother you.
Yeah.
Or my friend's girlfriend isn't bothered when that happens. Why are you bothered with it? Yeah, those fun statements.
Exactly. Those are very much now it's important as we're like going through all of these things independently, they're not gaslighting. Like it's like, uh,
Oh yeah.
it's important, like, okay, like you're just in a relationship and someone cheats on you and they're like, no, man, that wasn't me. They're not necessarily gaslighting you. They're
Right.
just not trying to own and take accountability because you caught them cheating. Like that's a dick move.
Gaslighting actually happens over an extensive period of time with several behaviors and several different circumstances, situations. Like it's a built up kind of thing. Not everything you say when you're on the defense is, technically gaslighting. It's built up in multiple forms at multiple times.
For sure. And I think that's just important to know.
Yeah.
Because if you take these like individually, you're like, ah, like, I mean, they lied and they denied, and yeah, okay, so they're just a dick. Like they're just an
Yeah.
asshole. They're
Yep.
just in a shitty relationship, or like that was just you guys were fighting, or just something fucked up happened in your relationship, and that occurs. It may not be healthy. It also just might be an issue where you guys can work through it and be okay. And that's important to know. Like individually, like one-offs, things like that, not gaslighting, and like, but it's that collective overtime consistent piece that really says, oh yeah, they're like controlling my world and my view of the world so that it looks like something that's not real. It's like they create a world where it's like delusional,
Mm-hmm.
only
Yeah.
they want you to live in the delusion.
And would you say that gaslighting is typically paired with another mental health disorder, like it comes as a symptom of something, or do you feel like gaslighting can stand alone?
It can stand alone. I think typically it's going to come with some other form of abuse.
Hmm.
So it's typically going to come probably with more emotional or physical or even mental abuse. I mean, it's mental abuse by itself. Please know
Right.
that. But like it's also going to come with like some other piece of the relationship being unhealthy.
Hmm.
Um, because all of this together isn't healthy. So
Right.
foundationally, something else is happening in the relationship. And it may not be physical abuse. It could be, other emotional abuse. I mean,
Hmm.
it could be sexual abuse as much as, nobody wants it to ever be any of these things. But the mental abuse and emotional abuse that come with like they're out cheating chronically and they come home and blame you for cheating because there was a text in your phone at 10 o'clock.
Hmm. Do you feel like the gaslighting abuser is egotistical, narcissistic, or anything personality disorder wise? Or do you feel like it's just a trait that you can environmentally learn or grow up with?
Like most mental health stuff, I think it's probably a bit of both. I think people who learn it So relationship dynamic. So you can learn that. Um, and, mental health wise, there's always like what triggers it, you know, if you have chronic, this is where we're going to get into like, I feel like this plays more into like intimate partner violence a lot more as a totality than people want to claim because we use the word gaslighting so fluidly.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot more gaslighting. If anybody ever looked up the power and control wheel for intimate partner violence, like a lot of what we're discussing falls right aligned with that.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's more along people who just want power and control, and that's its own thing.
Right.
Uh, and that, there are multiple like different mental health things that could come with that, but I think it's a lot more of like, I just want to be in charge of you.
A lot of that control aspect. Do you feel like since gaslighting, that term has been used so much that it's lost some of its, um, what do you say, umph behind it, some of its meaning, some of its,
Yes,
yeah.
I do. I think gaslighting has lost like its panache, for lack of better
Yeah,
words.
I
It's
could
like,
not come up with a word. I was like, okay.
I also feel like narcissism is that other word. I mean, we talked about it on last week's episode, but it's also just like, everybody you meet is a narcissist. Everybody you meet is gaslighting you. I mean, like, some people are just assholes.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've lost that in society, that some people are just
They
assholes.
just through and through are just a-holes. Like, they're just mean people.
Right. They're just selfish
Yeah.
and they're mean. And that's just it. We don't have to label them as anything else because they don't necessarily are anything
Yeah.
else. They're just a dick. They're just
Yeah.
mean. And like we just let them exist as that.
Yeah.
Um, and so I feel as we've just overplayed them. Uh, I think for a while now I've called them the therapy word du jour, these two. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just become like it's just become part of the vernacular so much that it's just there. You might as well just
Yeah.
people say it and I like, yep, okay.
Okay.
What does that mean to you now?
Mm.
I need you to explain what that means.
And speaking of those who explain what they mean to them, let's talk. We've talked a lot about it, the abusers. Maybe we should talk some about the victims, like maybe give them some tips and tricks, tools of how to gain their confidence back, and some warning signs to pick up a little bit earlier on that. I don't know. Isn't
Yeah.
the national average of going back to your abuser, I think, is 7, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, a victim goes back to their abuser about 7 times before they're able to break that cycle. And it's heartbreaking to see. I worked with a lot of victim witnesses. I was a victim witness advocate for the courthouse around the area, and so just hearing those stories is wow, heartbreaking. Going to the trainings and getting certified in it and knowing that 7 times, because they have been isolated, because they have been led to believe that they're the problem, because that they have been led to believe that they wouldn't make it without the abuser. Like, you're not going to be able to get a job, you're not going to be able to fend for yourself. And the kiddos, if they have kiddos and they're stuck in that cycle, it's, yeah, definitely heartbreaking to see. So do you have any tips and tricks for them?
Um, I think it's important to recognize, A, if you are in a abusive situation, and you are afraid to leave, please know that regardless of where you live, there are resources.
Mhm.
Every community has some place, some form of women's shelter, some form of place to help victims of intimate partner violence. They just do. I know the idea of maybe going to a shelter isn't great, but it's a step because they have resources to help you get out. If you are in a place where you can plan, you can somehow squirrel away money, squirrel away important documents, birth certificates, driver's license, social security cards, everything you need, even better. If you have a place where you can hide money, all of these things in separate locations, all of that is great. I know that these are hard things, oftentimes in abusive situations, but these are good starting places. I think the best thing that I can say is in the beginning, trust your own instincts. When something feels off, it's off. Okay. Now, this is important because people with anxiety and people with obsessive compulsive disorder are going to be like, but I got the intrusive thoughts. And how am I supposed to trust myself? Because it feels off and you know it.
Calling out
There is,
patterns. Yeah.
yep,
Looking for
yeah,
those patterns. Sorry,
right.
didn't interrupt you.
No, you're right, though. That's the patterns are right. Like, and not just in the overthinking them patterns.
Right, right, exactly. Like oh, it seems like every time I bring up this happens, or it seems like every time I want to see a friend, this happens. Oh, it seems like every time I go to the grocery store, this happens. Just kind of those physical patterns, even more than the mental patterns. If you can pick out some physical patterns to get out of your noggin a little bit because of that confusion and whatnot, looking at the physical senses and looking for those things, I think could be helpful for OCD folks, for anxious folks.
Yeah. Um, I agree. Like tangible things are very helpful.
Yeah,
This next part is not necessarily gonna, it might help some
it
people with
might.
anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder, and also might make this worse. But for general purpose, it's like switching up personalities. They're very sweet, very loving, very great, and then all of a sudden it's like they're a whole nother person. Like that's also something like no, no, that's I don't if I don't the size of the red flag. If
Yeah.
I could cover the United States with how big of a red flag that is, I
Hmm.
would. It's that big. It's like that's the like, oh wait, no. And I don't mean just have a bad day. I mean like they just flip who they are.
Yeah. Like one minute they're crying to you, apologizing. The next minute they're like, no, wait, why am I the one? Everything you do is wrong. Why do I have to apologize?
If you didn't make me do this,
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't love you so much,
Mm-hmm.
those kind of statements. Like it's your fault. You you are the one in like in trouble.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's really, I mean, I'm gonna say always this. There are also, there's 988.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of warm handoff lines. You can text 741-741, um, which is sometimes a lot easier than having to call somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there are places. Now, I'm not going to say go to the police because I know nobody is.
Fair enough.
Um, and I also know the chances of anything coming from that are also not great. So, which is
Yeah.
why people don't go. But the truth of the matter is there are other community resources if
Mhm.
you need them that are available. But really, if you don't feel like you can do any of those, oftentimes even in gaslighting situations, because you're the problem, you can convince your abuser that you need therapy.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
it's a step in the right direction of getting
Okay.
someone tangible to help you.
Yep. Yeah, because that's a safe place. Now, what if the abuser wants to go to therapy with them? That can make things a little trickier, but hey, welcome it because at least you're having an outside party that you can talk to. Therapists are trained
Yes.
to see those things. So, you know, sign up for
Yep.
couples counseling. Go get there. It's someone to talk to.
Yeah. It's someone, it's someone who you have out externally. Yes, they might put on the everything is great and you're there just put back on the charm and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, even if it's couples counseling, the therapist will probably recommend individual therapy. And
Mm-hmm.
that's your segue.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And, some anchoring statements for anyone who might be listening that is, going through stuff like that. Just, validate your emotions. Number one, you're allowed to trust your memory. Okay. It's your memory. You're allowed to trust your memory. You don't need to justify your feelings. And last but not least, confusion is a symptom of manipulation, not a flaw in you.
Big facts.
Big facts there. So hopefully that'll provide some encouragement.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that we picked a big heavy one, which is relationships and what to do in that.
Hmm.
Um, we can have a little bit of fun with talking about the work one.
How much fun are we talking? How much
So,
fun can we have?
I mean, if we think about it, right, let's just to refresh everybody, gaslighting in work is taking credit for your work, blaming you
Mm-hmm.
for failures and not your failures, just failures,
Mm-hmm.
invalidating ideas and skills and disregarding your contributions. Now, I've worked in multiple locations in my career and I've run into this a few times um, in different settings.
Mm-hmm.
So it exists in many places
Mm-hmm.
uh, in various forms of that, which I think, it's important to recognize that, sometimes bosses suck.
Yup. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. Just like some people in this world are just a-holes, sometimes bosses just suck. It has nothing to do with the worker and everything to do with the one that you're working for.
So if we could just sometime go, you know what, I just got a shit ass boss, I got a shit ass supervisor. And sometimes it's just important to recognize, like, oh, every time I go, I'm like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, we're not using that. I don't even know why you would bring that up. It's like, because it was a good idea, motherfucker. That's why.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And then, like, 2 weeks later, you're like, they're going to roll this idea out. And you're like, bitch, that was my fucking idea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And do you get any
Cool.
credit? Do you get any
Oh,
credit?
fuck
No.
no. And that's when the employees stop fucking bringing shit up, when the innovation stops happening. And that's when disgruntledness starts occurring.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then it's your fault. Somehow it's your fault that you show up to work with a less than enthused emotion.
What do you mean you're not happy to be here?
What? You're not happy to be here? We give you everything. What do you need? What do you want? Oh, we can't provide that. So you're just gonna have to suck it up. Like,
I'm sorry, you want me to take PTO? I'm sorry, no. You just still need to show up.
no, no.
The idea of approving PTO to me blows my mind.
Uh, yeah. Oh, that's a whole thing. And only having a set amount. Like, how can we predict if we're going to be sick? How are we going to predict if a crisis happens at home?
I have a friend who is from New Zealand.
Hmm.
They get unlimited personal days.
Are they paid?
Yes.
They're paid.
Yes.
Unlimited.
Yeah, because you might need their personal days, so they use them like sick days and like whatever. So like, you might get sick more than once.
My jaw is literally dropped.
I was like, wait. I was like, This is why people hate it here.
New Zealand. Okay, so how do I get licensed there? They're
No, I just moved to New Zealand.
just moving. I'm gonna get licensed. It's fine. Oh,
Oh, that's funny. But I think it's important to recognize that, like, regardless of the field you work in,
hmm
these kind of supervisors, these kind of employee bosses, they exist.
hmm
Staying with the company, staying with the employer really becomes a very personal decision,
Yes.
because unfortunately we live in a place where, I don't know, you need money to eat and survive and live. It's crazy.
That
Um,
is crazy. Can we go back to like the bartering system? That'd be great. I'd love to trade my water bottle for a hamburger. Like,
well, that's an equal trade. I will give you my water bottle for a hamburger. Equal trade.
it is totally an even trade, okay?
It's a really great water bottle.
It really is. It's fantastic. It's got stickers on it.
It's up in value. Technically, you're getting a better deal than my hamburger because it will last and has stickers.
Yes, exactly. Keeps
Oh
everything
yeah.
cold or hot, whatever you need.
Oh shit. All right. So I think the important thing is like really remembering like whether or not you stay is very personal.
hmm
Um, you can you can stay because you have good benefits and good pay, and just remember that this is a job.
hmm
If you're in that kind of working situation, it's a job. You show up, you punch in, whether you work in a building like brick and mortar or you work virtually, you show up, you punch in, you do the job, you go home. Right? Like you don't have to be invested in the company as much as employers want you to be invested in the company. That's for their benefit, not for yours.
hmm
They want you to be invested in the company so they can exploit your labor.
Yeah. Yup.
But if you have a boss that isn't going to support you, then why the fuck should you? But
Yeah.
what do you get? Nothing out of that. There is no balance to that. So you can just show up for work and just do your job. You don't have to give extra. You don't have to give ideas. You don't have to make things better. You don't have to do any of that.
Yeah. Read your SOP and do what the bottom line says. Set your boundaries. That's okay.
It is. And if the job is too much, you can look for something else because I promise somebody else will hire you.
hmm I had
Lawyers
this,
like to believe they have all the authority.
yeah,
I promise they don't.
I had this wonderful supervisor tell me one time that I was looking for a job when I found this one.
There you go.
Just remember that. You were looking for a job when you found the one you had.
Yeah. It might take you a minute,
Yeah.
but that's the nice thing about looking for a job when you're employed.
Yep.
You take your time and nobody needs to know. So if you have a supervisor or a boss that does gaslighting to you, there's quite a few different ways you can handle that, right? You don't have to get emotionally responsive to them. You can just be like, oh, okay, I don't need to play this game. I can just do my job and get paid and go home, and that's it. Or
hmm
I can look for something else. I understand you're probably likely going to fall into some of this random other bullshit somewhere else because companies always want you to give more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's okay to have boundaries.
100%.
100%. Like if you're walking out the door, you're clocked out. Guess what? You don't have to stay if your boss needs to talk to you. It can wait until you're clocked in again.
Uh, One thing that has always served me well, an emergency on your half is not an emergency on my half.
hmm Exactly.
And
And
so that's a really good way of like, no man, it's 4:59, I'm leaving.
yeah. Oh, you scheduled an hour-long meeting to start at 4:30. How about we find a better opportunity for both of us? How about we find a better time that works with both of our schedules?
Yeah.
That's okay too.
It's really, I think what we're really saying here is that it's important and necessary to have good boundaries for your employment. Nobody, companies do not have loyalty to you. And so we no longer live in a place where you need to have loyalty to them. And just for fun, the average person has at least 7 different careers in their lifetime. That doesn't count jobs. So I promise you're not staying where you're at anyways.
So we have a good average of 7 in our discussion today.
All
7
right,
is the winning number, the lucky number.
7. So anybody, if you need a good number or a bad number, it's 7 today.
Yep. Seven
All right.
is the number.
All right. Well, it's been lovely having Alex here today with me, and we're going to wrap up with this. Uh, Gaslighting, it can be very subtle and insidious. It can make it very difficult to recognize at first. So it's important to be aware of all the tactics we talked about today, but to trust your own instincts and perceptions. If you are concerned about gaslighting, seek support from a therapist, a counselor, a friend, a family member. You can, if you can see a preacher, a minister, your spiritual advisor, find somebody, talk to them. As I said, there are other resources we gave out earlier as well. So, but it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I enjoyed today. I hope the audience did as well.
I'm sure they did.
All right, Alex, I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, and I hope you have an awesome night.
If you enjoyed today's episode, follow us on Instagram at Unwinding Support or email us at unwindingmentalhealth@gmail.com.